Hello ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to create an artwork inspired by Joseph Albers using oil pastels, geometric shapes, cohesive color schemes, as well as mirrored and inverted compositions. You're going to start by folding your paper in half. You need to create two identical compositions, and dividing your paper in half will make sure you have both sides being equal. I'm going to create a composition within a square. I'm going to divide that square up into several different sections. Notice what I'm sketching, I'm not using a ruler, I'm just drawing vertical lines down as well as trying to recreate shapes as similar as possible. Then I'm going back with a heavier, darker line to make those lines much more crisp and clean and erasing the lines that I don't need. If you want to use a ruler, you certainly can, but I'd recommend you draw out your plan lightly first and then use a ruler at this point instead of just going over freehand like I'm doing here. But again, we want it to be pretty similar, both compositions, but it's okay if they're a little off. Once you have two identical compositions using geometric shapes, then you're going to start filling in just one with a certain color scheme. I would use at least two colors. I'm going to do 4 total colors on this one here. Now the colors that I'm using, this is a green, and then I'm going to actually use a lime green or a yellow green, a little bit lighter color next. A lot of Joseph Albers' works uses colors that are slightly different from each other. So this is my lime green, which is lighter than my medium green here. So I'm filling in the background or the rectangles of my composition here, and I'm actually going to switch colors to a different color for my triangle. The next color that I'm going to be using is a violet. This violet that I'm using is a little bit darker than the other one I'm going to be using. I'm filling in these sections of my triangle that are overlapping, and I'm switching to my other violet. Again, notice how this violet is slightly lighter. So I have two colors, basically I have green and I have violet. The greens are slightly different and the violets are slightly different. Now what I'm going to do next is flip the color scheme. So you notice on the top one, I have a lime green in the background. Now I'm putting that lime green in the triangle. And then here, I should have my violet in the triangle, but instead I'm putting it on the outside. So I'm inverting the color scheme. So go step by step so you don't mess this up. I would go really slowly, again, to avoid as many errors as possible. If you make a mistake, you really can't go back, so really try to avoid that. So remember, Joseph Albers used not only geometric shapes and mirrored compositions, which means basically the same composition drawn perfectly, the exact same, except for the inverted colors. So inverted means opposite. So notice again, the background on the top one is that dark green, and now I'm doing the triangle on the inside, the light or the green as well. So I have one final thing to do. I've got my violet here that I'm filling in, and I about grabbed the wrong one. See, I had to think for a second. So I'm filling in the dark violet here on the background to complete my inverted color scheme. So if you look at these, both these images are exactly the same. The only difference is the inverted colors. So inverted means opposite, mirrored means the same composition, and we use geometric shapes here. So final step is smudging. When you're smudging, you want to use a paper towel. You definitely can use your finger, but your finger is going to get dirty, and you're going to smear unlike colors together, so you don't want that. So right now I'm smearing all the lime greens throughout both compositions. Then I flip to a new fresh side of my paper towel, and I'm working on just the medium greens. So I'm going through both compositions, smearing the medium greens, and you can see after I've smeared, you see hardly any or nothing of the back paper. You just see those colors smooth down to each other, and it gives a very painterly effect, because Joseph Albers was a painter, and obviously we're using oil pastel, so we're trying to recreate that, that technique. Final color that I'm filling in is the violet, and again, you can really see the violets transform from almost crayon-like marks to very smooth into like a tonal value. Tonal means everything is gradual, and you can hardly see any brush strokes or pencil marks. Obviously this isn't pencil, but any marks here. Now some of the background was still visible, so I went back and filled that in, and I'm smearing so it looks high quality. And that's how you create an artwork. by Joseph Albers.